Hi, in this short video I'm going to take you through the standard culture benchmark form, so these tabs here, this optional set, so that should you wish to, you can enter data in here as well as complete the compulsory set. Now, all organisations in Birmingham who are funded either on a project basis or revenue funded have free access to the culture benchmark at no additional cost rather than the usual £250 a year subscription. So I thought I might as well take you through the process for entering data into here. We start with the same or very similar profile to that which you will have completed in the Birmingham survey input. So if you don't feel like putting that lot in, we will happily do that for you. It's not terribly long, so it's not too bad, either for you or for us to complete. Some extra questions here about whether you were an RFO, whether you are an NPO, and if so, what category of activity you are part of. And these are part of the Arts Council's annual dataset questions, so only any use to you if you are currently an NPO. The heart of this form sits in the income and cost pages, and you'll notice that it's the usual yellow boxes and more of the white eyes in blue circles as explanations for the detail of this. And we've split this into a couple of parts. The first bit is only needs to be completed if you have had capital income in the year. We separate this out because it would completely skew the results if you'd had a couple of million to build a building, but your revenue was £500,000 a year. So we pull out the capital expenditure bit, and here's the main part of the form. We start with the grant-based information, the regular funding from Arts Council England, and then additional project funds, so things like Catalyst, through to trust and foundations, local authorities, lottery funds, etc. And in most areas you'll see that there's an other section. Really, this is a catch-all. So if you've got grant funding that doesn't neatly fit into one of these boxes, but it's a grant, then stick it in here. We then move on to venue-based income, tickets, education, shop, cafe, etc. And then a plethora of non-venue based income streams, starting with donations and sponsorship. And you'll see that we split out here crowdfunding and digital donations, as well as gift aid and legacies. And again, there's an other box in here, just in case the above doesn't neatly fit. We are then moving on to research, income from intellectual property, an assortment of trading income, and then delivery contracts and commissions, with some bit more down here for interest and other income. And if you have received money specifically for training, apprenticeships or distribution of grants, then again put that in here. You'll find that filling in this part of the form is probably an hour's worth of work, but you might find it useful to print this out so you can see what headings to put it under. If you want any help with completing this, then by all means give us a call and we'll talk you through it. So if we've collected the income information, naturally we need to do the same for costs. And what you'll see here is we split out the direct costs, so the costs of production of the artistic works themselves, from the indirect costs, and you'll note that we put all the salaries information into indirect costs. The exceptions to that would be where if there are artist fees, project staff costs and freelancers, but by and large those who are PAYE belong in this section. If you can, it's worth splitting out the senior management team salaries from the rest of the artistic and management, from the rest of the staff, and I would argue it's also worth splitting out the pensions information if at all possible. The rest of this forms the usual sorts of headings that you will have in a profit and loss sheet. You'll also note that as you fill in this page, then these percentage of revenue incomes and the totals will also fill themselves in automatically, which is something that by now you're becoming familiar with. You'll also see that the total here will add up and it'll indicate whether there is any profit or surplus, what the net incoming, net outgoing was, and if you wanted to put it in your reserves at the beginning of the year, then it will add in that profit or surplus, or indeed deficit, to that to give you the reserves for the end of the year. This set of calculations will complete themselves as you grow and go. We then move on to various other bits and pieces, as I tend to call them. This is a set of sustainability indicators, some of which will complete once you fill in the income and cost information, but it's really asking you how many reserves do you carry, how's your volunteering, do you have professional help from your board in these areas, have you been growing the ticket prices, what's your capacity, that sort of thing. So a sense of what else you have that is not sitting on a profit and loss sheet. If you are an NPO, then you'll be familiar with the delights of this audience, and then the profile on staff and the finances pages. Even if you're not, you might want to add in the data on your balance sheet, because that is information that you will have, but it's unlikely that you would be able to complete all of that unless you were collecting it regularly. And then the last bit is some work that we did with Mission Models Money a few years ago, and is there to get you thinking about what else you're doing in terms of earned income, what types of trading activities, what your development costs are, and whether you've considered other forms of financing. So as with all of this, you can save it partway through, and you can save and send for review once complete, and once it's all been approved, you'll be able to see the results section as that'll go live for you. Good luck, thanks very much.